Montavious El Jawan. This is the Unfather Father, a uphill battle production. Fear no man, fear no circumstance, fear no situation, and by all means, trust God. So, now we do it, baby. We're gonna get straight to it. I've been thinking a lot lately, man, about the fight to be a man and the fight that it has always been to be a man. You have to fight to discover what manhood is. You have to fight to become a man. You have to fight to establish yourself amongst other men. You have to fight to be respected, not only among your peers, but even amongst, and maybe even especially amongst your loved ones, man. So that's what we're going to dive into today. This fight, this battle, this war to be a man. And the most important aspect of this war, this battle, this fight, is the internal one. The one that we fight within ourselves. I read this African proverb one time that says, if there is no enemy within, the enemy without can do you no harm. That stuck with me. And it's funny how things like that come to you. They cross your path, because I came across that in a time, man, where I was having like one of the toughest internal battles of my life. The Unfather Father. I'd be lying, man, if I said that I got manhood figured out. It'd be a bold-faced lie. But I am putting in the work. I am willing to fight for it because it means something to me. And I know I ain't the only one. I ain't the only man. And you know what's so crazy about this, man? Like, I wish I was an outlier. Like, I wish that I was in the minority. Like, when it came to having to figure this out. But unfortunately, I'm one amongst many who had the same battle. All of us, you know, we're not willing to admit that. So we cling to the representations of manhood that's been presented to us. And we master that. Some of it take on the form of hard work, blue collar work. Others are drawn to thuggery. Others are attracted to the blue collar lifestyle. I mean, white collar lifestyle. I'm sorry, I said blue collar already. So some attracted to blue collar, hard working, everyday type of manhood, which means, man, I'm willing to get dirty. I'm willing to grind for mine. Others are drawn to the street life, while some are drawn to white collar, more intellectual pursuits. But regardless of, you know, what was able to get a hook in us, we all searching for what it means to be a man. And I realize that as I'm still learning and developing and understanding what this means for myself, the Lord has seen fit to make me responsible for guiding another soul through that process. You know, that's a very complicated scenario and like internal dialogue, I guess, like an internal question that I have to come to terms with, or responsibility that I have to come to terms with. That before I'm even at a point where, you know, I feel like I got it figured out within myself. You know what I'm saying? I have to begin the process of, you know, teaching the things that I do feel like I got a handle on. And that's something, you know. Like ultimately, I trust that, you know, the Most High know what He's doing. And I'm pretty sure that, you know, through the process of teaching, I'm going to gain wisdom myself. So, you know, I'm grateful for it. You know what I mean? I try to maintain a attitude of gratitude, like even in my wilderness place, even in my valley, I try to remain grateful. I try not to murmur. I try not to complain. I try to be grateful for, you know, the things that I do have access to in this season. Because I know that, you know, a lot of people don't have access to, you know, a little bit that I do understand, a little bit that I do know. So that's what we on today. The fight to be a man. And it is a fight. And I want to talk to the women out there right now. This is not me feeding into the gender battle, or battle of the sexes. Like, this is not me feeding into that. This is me having a honest and earnest conversation with my sisters, you know. I'm asking that y'all would consider us a little bit more. That y'all would consider our plight. That you will really think about being raised to not express your vulnerable feelings or your vulnerability. Being raised to hold your pain in. I see a lot of women, they find their power in, you know, and their strength in expressing themselves, because they feel like, you know, or at least I assume that they feel like their voice has been silenced. So they find strength in speaking out, right? But sisters, Like, consider that your brothers, your fathers, your man, your little cousin, your little nephew, for the most part, he's taught not to express those things. He's taught to suck it up, keep going, fight through it. And although he would like to be able to have those conversations with you, oftentimes what we learn as men is that we don't get favorable outcomes when we do that. So what am I saying? Growing up, you know, a lot of men, they attempt to express themselves to their little girlfriend, to their woman, even to their wife. And they learn that oftentimes those things are used adversely against them. That vulnerable moment that he had with you, you took it and you rubbed it in his face. So now what does he do? This the era where it's a big push for mental health and going to see a therapist. But it's hard to go against what's been ingrained in you. It's hard to go against that voice in you that says that if you can't handle it, if you can't suck it up and keep going, you weak. So speaking from my personal experience, sometimes you find yourself just becoming numb to things. You find yourself cutting off your emotions. At least that's what you think you're doing. You cut off your emotions. You compartmentalize things. So what do we do with that as men? You got your lady on one end who wants you to open up to her and express yourself to her. But your past is telling you that the last time I did that, the last time I attempted to be vulnerable with a female, she looked at me different. She talked to me different. Her respect level declined. And from what I've learned in my 34 years as a man on this road to manhood is that, boy, we'll rather be respected above a lot of things. We rather for you to look at us with admiration. We rather for you to extend honor to us. And we willing to sacrifice being heard and understood to maintain that respect. I want y'all to be aware of that and consider that. And I know this ain't nothing new to a lot of people. But on the off chance that somebody need to hear this, here you go. We fighting and we battling. And to my brothers, I understand you, bro. But that ain't no excuse. Because we men at the end of the day. And we got to carve out a space for us to deal with our internal traumas. We got to learn how to heal as opposed to coping. We got to learn how to address those things that we bury. And admittedly, it's not easy. understand it, bro. It ain't easy. It's a fight. It's a battle. That's why I chose them words. You going against your default settings. From a child, we taught not to cry. From a child, we taught, man, don't nobody want to hear that. Nobody want to hear you complaining. So what do? How do we maneuver? I'm searching for the answers myself. For my seed. So I can have a better relationship with my lady. So I can have balance within myself. So that I'm not crushed by the weight of my own emotions. Now, do I want to become overly emotional? No, I don't. And I've been there too, where I felt like I was oversharing. I was overexpressing. And even that, I feel like it was necessary, man. After years of just scrapping my boots up and marching on, I needed that woosah moment. But what I'm learning is that I have to be intentional about consistently creating those for myself. And then another thing is I had to learn to get over the fear of vulnerability, because we often view vulnerability as weakness. And that's partially true. But it's not the full truth. There is strength in vulnerability. Some of the greatest lessons I've learned from other men came through their vulnerability. For them letting me know that I wasn't alone. That I wasn't the only one felt like that. That feels like that. It freed me to know, okay, ain't nothing wrong with me. I just got to figure it out. And going back to what this channel is about, which is being an unfathered father, I realize how important it is to see your father deal with his emotions, deal with his stress, deal with his vulnerable moments. And you hope and pray that he can do it in a healthy way. You hope and pray that he is not a father who hasn't learned healthy ways of addressing his trauma, so that he doesn't compound that in you. So that's the journey that I'm on, because I don't want to scar my son. I don't want to put roadblocks on his path. Whether that be intentionally or unintentionally. Consciously or subconsciously. So I figured I had to do the work first. I got to clean up my soul first. I gotta align my spirit first. And I encourage y'all to do the same. Brothers, I encourage y'all to put in the work. Sisters, I encourage y'all to consider the plight of the men in your life. And even the plight of them little boys in your life, your son, your little nephew, your little cousin. I encourage you to create a safe space for them and don't use it against them. Nobody's perfect. We all have insecurities. We all have fears. And especially in our community, like 9 times out of 10, we got traumas too. So let's not, continue to be divided, by false representations of how men and women should operate. Let's not be divided by that no more. Let's learn how to have healthy internal and external relationships. And it starts with us doing the work for ourselves. I am Untavius L. Juwan. This is the Unfathered Father, presented to you by Uphill Battle.